Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to the MindShare PodCast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at industrysyndicate.com and mindshare101.com. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. This is episode 26. He has spent over 15 years on the origination side of the mortgage industry and currently serves as the VP of Development and Regional Manager for Mason-McDuffie Mortgages. He is the founder and host of the Mortgage Marketing Expert Podcast, sharing tips from expert guests to help mortgage professionals grow their business. He co-founds our Industry Syndicate, which is the industry's first media network of podcasts, flash briefings, and social media shows. He's a contributor to Housing Wire and holds a seat on their content advisory board, and he was named the top producer in a multi-state region for the largest mortgage lender in the country in 2009 and has built teams in markets all over the USA. I also need to give him a big round of applause for being here with us today. This man is in Vegas right now, and it is currently 8:30 a.m. for him, so we know that he hasn't slept yet. But it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Phil Treadwell to the MindShare podcast today. Thank you so much for being here.
Man, that was an awesome introduction. I appreciate that. I've been on several podcasts and obviously have a podcast myself, and you set the bar really, really high right there. So I appreciate that. That was good.
Buddy, you know what, man? It's a pleasure to have you here. And I know the minute I was like, yeah, man, you want to come on? You're like, yeah, I'm in. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, so I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah. Maybe we should do like an evening thing for you, right?
Right. Well, you had originally slated it for, I think, like 8:30 or 9:30 Eastern. I did the math because I'm Central Time and in Vegas Pacific. I'm like, that's like really early. Like, I don't know. Going to happen. So I appreciate you bumping the time back a little bit, but we're bright-eyed and ready to rock and roll.
Well, dude, I mean, I'm not going to lie, man. As we were getting close even to the 11:30 Eastern hour, which I knew was 8:30 for you, I'm like, I wonder, is he going to make it?
Is he going to pull this off or not?
No, you're the man, buddy. I appreciate it. So, as you know, with the whole MindShare thing, my whole idea, like on a regular basis, and especially with this podcast, very much sort of leave our listeners walking away, obviously with a lot of value, a lot of the hows, those little nuggets that they can use to build more MindShare. So I just listed off a bunch of who you are. And quite frankly, I mean, outside of knowing you and just kind of like stealing what I could off of your website to make it sound really good, can you give our listeners a little bit more into sort of, who are you? What's your everyday look like? What, mortgages, team building, consulting. Like, I know you do a massive amount of stuff. Can you share a little bit more for everybody?
Sure. No, and I appreciate that. Again, I'm a 15-year mortgage industry veteran. I've always been on the sales and origination side of the business. So it's always been working with realtors and other referral partners, developing relationships, building business. I've worked for some of the best of the best in the mortgage industry, had great mentors, and any amount of success that I've had in the business is directly attributed to a coach or a mentor that's helped me out along the way, people that I've learned from. There's so much great information out there, this podcast included. I highly recommend, that's the biggest tip that I can give people when it comes to wanting to grow their business, is to educate yourself, is to learn. Go out there and there's podcasts, there's Facebook Lives, there's books, there's so many resources, and then pick a mentor, find somebody to work with. And that's really what a lot of my mortgage career has been about, is finding someone that was where I wanted to be in the business and really trying to emulate them in my own way, finding my own differentiation, the thing that I like to do and do it the way they did it to be successful. But I'm a father of 5. My wife and I have 5 kids between the two of us. We have a 100-pound all-black German Shepherd. So needless to say, our calendars are extremely full, even with just our everyday stuff. And, my day is full of, working with other mortgage professionals wanting to build their business. I'm a regional manager. I just recently made a move to Mason-McDuffie. So right now we're spending a lot of time of, branding ourselves, getting the word out about what we're doing, what the next few years in the industry looks like for us, trying to put people that philosophically want to do mortgage banking the same way, and really trying to collaborate and put a really cool company together. Obviously have the podcast. It's been a ton of fun. We just had our year anniversary on June 1st. So blessed to have had some of the mortgage industry and real estate industries, brightest minds and influencers, take a little bit of time and share their expertise with our audience. And again, it's that spirit of wanting to share information and mind share, if you will, and really help people build their business and collaborate and share that information. It was really the spirit of how the podcast came about. It was a way for me to give back to the industry without necessarily asking for anything in return. We've not monetized the podcast. We don't necessarily have any sponsors. It was just an opportunity to give to other mortgage professionals that were either on my team or that I wanted to recruit, and just give them information to help them build their business, whether we work together or not, knowing that as we go and continue to build our business, that good things will happen.
Dude, I wish I was writing every single thing you just said down, because there was about a million things I could ask you about right now. I'm going to start right off of part of that with, first of all, 5 kids. Are you mad? Like, are you crazy? I've got 2 of them, and quite frankly, I got my hands full, but with 5 and a dog. So you know what? Here, how about this? One thing we know about our industry, mortgage professionals, real estate agents, they are busier than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. Yet when you ask them what they're doing next, most of the time they don't even know, because most of them are not very scheduled. And I'm not going to paint the brush over everybody. For those of you that are listening that are going, Dave, you're wrong, I'm scheduled. Good for you. Props to that, okay? But for the most part, most people aren't. How do you manage that time? I mean, you're killing it on a business level with the podcast, with the business, with everything else. Big shout out to Mason Mac, by the way. I was out with Mason Mac, with our buddy Frazier, out there in Lake Tahoe last year, speaking at their conference. It was a kick-ass conference. So, I'm really jacked for you, and I'm really jacked for them to have you. That's a very cool thing. But how do you stay scheduled with everything? How do you manage it all?
Man, it's tough, and I will give huge props to my wife. She is one of the she is a calendar guru.
Hey, sorry, I got to give huge props to my wife now, because if you did that and I didn't,
hey, you set the bar high with that. Set the bar with giving props to wives. No, but she is definitely my rock in that respect. She helps keep our calendar in. And so I had 3 kids from a previous marriage. She had 2 from a previous marriage. So blended, we have 5. There's lots of logistics back and forth with other parents we have in the house, and it's really about making sure everything's on the calendar, and she and I communicating very well. And that's for people when it comes to time management, if you will. Darren Hardy here at the Mastermind Conference spent a lot of time talking about time management. And one of the things he really talked about was looking at your calendar from the last 2 weeks and finding out what you should have said no to, and then looking at your calendar for the next 2 weeks and finding out what you need to say no to, and really narrowing down what are your high payoff activities, what are the things that's going to get you where you want to go. And, that's what we try to do. There's lots of things we want to do, all of us out there in business and in our personal lives, but we only have 24 hours in the day. Time is one of those commodities that none of us can ever get back, and we all have the same amount of it. And so what we all do with our time is extremely important. When you're talking about building your business, are you spending the time in the activities that are effective and, excuse me, and they're going to make you more efficient building your business? And so, the short answer to your question is we try to be as meticulous with our calendars as possible, and we try to make sure that we're spending our time where we truly think it's going to be the most beneficial to us, both in our personal lives and in our business.
Well, and that's key, right? Because I think that, and I've said this many times, so anybody listening probably is going, Dave, I know, right? But you know me, I'm going to keep reminding you of this stuff, because one thing to know, it's another thing to do. When it comes down to time management, and when, again, coaching baseball, coaching hockey, owning a hockey league, running a business, out there speaking, running a podcast, running MindShare challenges, we're all really busy, right? But the only way I know for myself on a personal level that I've been able to execute and be consistent about it is straight up, I'm accountable to my calendar. Every night, like last night, the Raptors game was on. Go Raps, up 2-1 in the series. They should be up 3-0, but whatever. When I was doing that, though, literally laptop on my lap, going through the schedule for today, because I was on the road all day yesterday. I was driving 5 hours yesterday. So by the time I got in, I've got notes to update for my call list. I got scheduling to do for today. but it's the way you execute. And by the time you're done the day to day, you can look back on the day and go, look at everything I accomplished.
Absolutely. And I think there's a difference between being busy and being productive. I think a lot of it, one of my first mentors said that the 11th commandment is thou shalt not fooleth thyselfeth the whole day. And we take a look and be like, oh my gosh, we were so busy, but did we actually accomplish anything? We're really productive and making things happen. And so, again, to kind of steal a line from Darren Hardy is if you take those 3 priorities that you want to accomplish and you look at your appointments, if you look at your calendar, are you attacking those 3 things? If you're in the real estate business, if you're in the mortgage business, it's about creating leads, converting leads, and getting homes closed. And if you're looking at your activities and you're doing things that don't directly help you achieve those goals, then you're spending a lot of time in areas that aren't productive, that you're not actually effective and efficient at. And so those things either need to be deleted or they need to be delegated. And that's really what I think for us personally is something that it's a challenge every single day. There's a lot of things I want to do and there's a lot of things that I need to do. And it's about making those conscious decisions on a daily basis. And again, this isn't groundbreaking stuff, but it's a good reminder because we all do it. The more opportunities we have, the more we want to say yes, the more we feel like everything's going to help build our business. And so that's why I'm kind of taking a second and really making sure people remember is every single day you have to choose where you're going to spend your time. And if we all look at it, we're all spending a lot of time in areas that are not helping our business, that are not giving us better relationships with our friends and family, that are not helping us to achieve those goals that we all set on January 1. Okay, we're into June now. Have times that people thought about those, resolutions that they made for the new year. Are you still working towards those? Are you still knocking out 30-day, 60-day, 90-day challenges to help you achieve those things for the year? And I think for the majority of people, that's no. We have grandiose intentions at the beginning of the year, but now that we're in the busy part of the season, we're really grinding it out. Are those top of mind still? Do you need to revisit those? And so again, you can find out very quickly what's important to someone by where they spend their money and how they spend their time.
Buddy, I love that because that's something I've actually been talking a lot about lately. I mean, you think about this and you just hit it. You just said it. But what are we, June 6th? So in 24 days, we're going to be halfway through 2019. Does anybody realize we're halfway through the year? And I know there's a lot of people, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm waiting it out, going to see how it goes. And it's like, whoa, you are literally 6 months into the year. Right. Yep. And I mean, I love the resolutions thing because, one of the big things I try to teach people to do, and I mean, and I will be the first one to say it. I used to think this stuff was hocus pocus, and I've said this before, but that whole goal setting and where are my goals? What do I want to achieve? And it's not. It is real deal, right? And it is a roadmap for your life. And so I have been very stringent on, my lifetime goal. The lifetime being very realistic. I'm not achieving that in 365 days. So now I got to take it down to an annual goal. What do I want to get done by the end of the year that I feel, okay, if I got there, would I feel satisfied that I've taken a step towards the lifetime? Yeah. Well, what's the step towards the annual? It's the monthly. What's the step between to the monthly? It's the weekly, which obviously means the daily. Yeah. And so constantly reviewing those resolutions, constantly reviewing those goals will keep you on that track, that roadmap to go, I'm getting there. None of it happens overnight, but I'm getting there. And so I'll even say to people, instead of reviewing every 12 months and sort of talking about it in November and then probably doing it in the first week of January, right, where you're starting to just plan, which you're already late, do it every 3 months. At the sort of tail end of each quarter, get prepped for the next quarter. And now you're constantly resetting. So with that then, when you just said things that we do that we're busy, but we may not necessarily be maybe as productive, however you worded that, what kind of things can people be doing? Like when you talked about getting out there and finding new leads, and which I like to call prospects and whatever, but get out there and find them and then try to convert into relationships. There's also that whole big side of thinking that, you're trying to convert into a relationship. We also know most of our business comes from that side of relationships. So we're just trying to feed that funnel and then work that. What do you suggest are some of the things that people should be doing on a daily basis? Where should they be focusing if they, want to, pick up sort of new opportunities because they're not necessarily business today. And then what can they be doing for the people they know to, again, sort of create that and continue building that mind share?
And that's a great question. And it all starts with, who is your audience? Who are you trying to reach? What type of people are you trying to create relationships with? Are you trying to get leads from? Are you trying to prospect in? So once I can identify your audience, then the next question you have to ask yourself is, what message am I trying to give that audience? Then once you figure out what that message is, it's very easy to figure out tactically what medium do you want to go through. Is it social media? Is it video? Is it blogging? Is it, hand-to-hand combat, face-to-face? But until you know what your audience is and what message that you're trying to give that audience, it's very difficult to talk tactics. And we could sit here and talk about everything from Alexa flash briefings to Facebook ads to, podcasts and everything in between. But unless you know who that audience, that end audience is, you don't necessarily know what's the best way to find them. I also think that people need to be honest with themselves about what they're good at, what is something that they enjoy doing. And if you'll double down on something you enjoy doing and something that you have some talent and skill at, it makes it very easy to get up every day and want to go do it. If you're doing something that you hate, if it's something that you're not at least a little bit naturally talented at, a lot of times people don't find the motivation. And we could have a completely different conversation about motivation and what drives you and all that kind of thing. But, we all have some talents and abilities that are natural that we can then develop skill in. And if you're honest with yourself about what those are, it's very easy to find the drive and motivation on a daily basis to want to grind it out when it does get difficult, because this industry is not easy. We have to grind it out on a daily basis. We have to do some things that we don't want to do. But if we're very clear about that, what that audience is, the message that we're trying to relay to them, and we're doing it in a way that we have some skill and ability in and we actually enjoy, then it's very easy to double down and have some success at it.
Man, you very eerily sound like me, but all the way over there. Like, it's crazy because I got my whole thing of the AMH theorem, right? Audience, marketing, and hustle, right? Who is your audience? What is your marketing? What are those tools? What are those channels using? How much budget do you have? And then hustle. Are you ready to grind it out and do what you got to do? I love it. So looking at that then, if I said to you, I am a mortgage professional, I am a realtor, so my audience would be, and again, this is high level where I'm not thinking as a marketing strategy person, like maybe we might really dive into that and kind of go, no, that's not your audience. Like, I need more than that. But like, I'm thinking, hey, I'm in those shoes. I wear my realtor mortgage professional hat. Homeowners, that's my audience. Right. So, okay, cool. Right. They're homeowners. What can I do? And we talk, and I mean, you just said, if you don't like I had one of my coaching clients that I spoke to earlier this morning says, and he's good on video. He is good with video. I've seen some of his videos, but he says he's struggling so much to do it because he wants every video to be perfect. And his videographer's like, it's never going to be perfect. Like, we're working with what we got. We just got to put it out there. And what I reminded him about was, look, I'm on video 158, and I'm talking 158 weeks in a row. There's been a MindShare video, like that 60-second rant, released, right? How many people are watching it? And I will ask audiences, and it's funny because not as many people as you want are watching it, and they kind of chuckle because they're thinking, oh, you must be embarrassed. And I'm like, nah, I know exactly that's what you were going to say, because most people aren't watching anything. Most people aren't paying attention to anything or listening to anything. So now there's that thing of, does it really need to be perfect? Or should we just get it out there? But he likes video. I like video, so it works. For the people that don't like video, I've told them the same thing. If it ain't for you, because you're going to struggle at it, stay the hell away. What are some of the things, because you mentioned the Facebook, the social, everything else, and I talk about those 7 ways to communicate. We go, in person, by phone, text message, email, direct mail, social, and web. And it's really, outside of like the radio, TV thing, it's really the only ways to communicate with another person. What are some of the things that maybe should be on my task list as that mortgage professional, as that realtor, on a day-to-day basis? Like, what should I be doing almost every single day to try to bring in more biz? And that could be from people I know and or people I don't know.
Sure. So on a tactical level, I will back up a little bit and say that so the Realtor Association puts out a generation report every April. I highly recommend that people go look at it because it talks about the trends of not only where buyers come from, but the types of things that they interact with throughout the entire, real estate home buying process. And what it says is that about 95 to 96% of all people across all generations start their home search online before they ever talk to a real estate professional, before they ever talk to a mortgage professional. So they're out there online looking at information. And last quarter in the US, 48% of all new mortgages were millennials, were 37, 38 and younger. So if you think of just those two statistics right there, almost everyone starts their home search online or is looking online at some point in time, and half of them are 37, 38 and younger. You have to look at your audience and decide who you're going after, right? In those certain circumstances, you have to have an online presence of some kind. You have to be participating in social media of some kind. You know, we have a flash briefing. We have a mortgage marketing minute. Our audience is mortgage professionals. We have some real estate professionals, even some insurance that follow. But we do a flash briefing because a lot of our audience, if you will, is looking for things that are new, that are innovative. And right now, you know, Google Home, Alexa Flash, you know, Alexa in general, those are some things that people are doing. And I think it's kind of the Wild West right now. There's an opportunity or maybe a real estate grab more than the Wild Wild West. You can go and differentiate yourself. If you're a real estate professional, I think one of the best things that you can do to brand yourself local, to kind of take ownership in your community, is start a flash briefing. It can be, you know, a couple of minutes long, talking about what's going on in your community, talking about the new restaurants, the events that are coming to town. Curate information and deliver it to an audience and give them a reason to engage with you and pay attention. A blog, a newsletter, you know, social media. On a tactical level, there's so much information out there. We're all bombarded by it on a daily basis. And so, you know, even people that aren't comfortable with creating content, curate content, go find stuff that people want to pay attention to. I think newsletters are poised to make a huge comeback as long as you're doing it the right way, because if you can grab pieces of information that people are interested in and deliver it to them in a way that they can take bite-sized stuff. So I think the point that's, I can probably wrap up a little bit easier than we were, you know, going down there, is if you'll curate information, if you'll find ways to give people value and communicate stuff that they're interested in and give them a reason to engage, you can capture their attention. I say on my podcast and a lot of interviews that for me, effective marketing is the balance of trust and attention. You've got to be in front of the customer to capture their attention, but you also have to trust that they want to do business with you. And I think that's what the MindShare message is really all about. That's and so find a way to capture that audience attention and provide value for them and let them know, by the way, I'm a real estate professional. By the way, I'm a mortgage professional. That's really tactically what people are going to have success with over the next few years. If you can find a way to cut of social media, to cut through all the noise of technology and really provide value outside of just the mortgage and real estate business. We say that all the time. What is value? It's not just about the better home process. It's not just about providing, you know, value to your referral partners. And all that is very true. You have to provide great service. You've got to have, you know, reasonable, you know, fees and rates and those types of things. But, you know, being an advisor, giving them information about things that they care about in their personal life. You know, I moved 6 months ago and I switched insurance. If I was looking to build a fire pit, if an insurance company had been giving DIY fire pit advice, I probably would have gotten insurance from them, because at that time, that's, you know, what I was kind of looking for. And it's just finding random ways to stay in front of people that they actually care about will keep them engaging with your content. And then your message and your brand can come through on the back end.
That is massively huge. I've said this one before as well, but we had pulled some people in one of our MindShare challenges. We do this often, but, you know, where do you like to get business? Where do you hate getting business? What do you hate to do to get business? All this stuff. And one of the things that was big was, and I've said this again, and I'll say it again and again and again, free value. They hate giving out free value. And most people hate it because we go, well, I'm going to either go and spend money to give this out, or I'm going to go and spend my time to give this out. And I'm not even getting anybody liking or commenting, and I didn't get any deals from it. I don't think it's working. And you're thinking, no, it is not about put it out there today and expect something back today. It's not about put it out there today and expect something back tomorrow. It is about consistently just putting something out there so that you can start to garner attention. And I love what you said about the fire pit, because that's something that I try to explain to people. When we talk about value, this is not, you know, the top 10 staging tips.
Right.
The top 10, the latest rates. I mean, yeah, it's important info. And quite frankly, yeah, you want to build mindshare around what you do for a living. Absolutely put some of that stuff out there, right?
For sure.
Let people realize, because like, you're not going to get mortgage rates from me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you the top 10 staging tips for your home. It's not what I do. But for the person in that shoe, fine. But at the same time, look out there. I mean, my wife, she sells makeup. Okay. And she kills it. Like, she does an amazing job with it. But you're going to find live videos of her baking her famous banana bread.
Right.
Baking her famous like Nutella cookies, and
Right.
Toblerone cookies. And like, I say those, my mouth is starting to salivate already, right? But I mean, like, that's value add. It's got nothing to do with her, or pardon me, her business and what she's doing. But you start to kind of get to know her, and you start to kind of like her. And then all of a sudden my kids slip and you go, oh, she's a mom. And there's a connection that starts to happen with these people. Right. And now you're starting to create what I call that path of least resistance with people, where now they're looking back and they're going, oh, yeah, I know her. I know him. I want to work with them. I like the value they put out there on a regular basis. But with that, when you talk about value, when we talk about value to people, I say this to everybody, guys, it's really, really important we understand this stuff, right? This is massive value that we put out there that is not just around what we do for a living, but really comes back to, what it is that people are learning from us. What are people picking up from us? What is it that they're, able to connect with us on? And that's why if you're watching my stuff on a regular basis, you're going to see a lot of stuff on there about, again, my Maple Leafs, my Raptors, my bike. You're going to see a lot of stuff about hockey. Like, there's a lot of different value add stuff I'm putting out there. These podcasts, right? We bring Phil on, and Phil's an expert in marketing. And I mean, dude, the nuggets you're giving us right now are phenomenal. And I mean, to me, they're so in line with a lot of things I'm sharing out there. But again, when you talk about value, we've got to think much higher level than just what we do for a living. The MindShare build, MindShare. It's not just about your name. It's not just about what you do for a living, but it's, can we create that advisor status that Phil just mentioned, trusted advisor, where if they're looking for the best burger joint in your neighborhood, they feel like they can call you and you will give them that answer.
Right.
That's what you call value. And what does that have to do with you? Maybe nothing. You might think zero. You might go, oh my God, the amount of time and effort I'm going to put into that. Why? What's that going to do for me? That builds mindshare. That makes a connection with human beings, right?
I'll give you another example. So Michael Mayer, it was at one time referred to as the most referred realtor in the country. And he wrote a book called 7 Levels of Communication. It's on Amazon's bestseller on the real estate section. And I had him on my podcast, and he was talking about, with his company, when everyone else was doing lead generation, they were doing what was called generosity generation. And they would call customers and they would call people, and they didn't talk about listing a home or buying a home or anything like that. They would call people up and say, hey, do you need someone to come mow your yard because we heard you're on vacation? Do you need recommendations for a good restaurant? Do you need tickets to an upcoming event? And their entire team would spend 2 hours every single day.
Amazing.
They're generating generosity, and they created the noun version of a generosity generation of a group of people. And so it's just a really cool way to add value to people above and beyond just the real estate business. And it's a phenomenal book. I highly recommend it. But that's what we're talking about here. If you see someone on Instagram that is, hashtag open houses or something, and they're taking a picture with their boo next to them in the car, don't say, hey, I'm a mortgage professional or I'm a real estate professional, I can help you. Say, hey, when you get done checking out open houses, here's a really great restaurant you can grab for lunch.
Right.
Take outside of just the average lead creation, lead conversion conversation, and find ways to really add value to people's lives, and you'll attract people to you. They want to do business with you because it's not just all about the bottom line.
Well, it's like our buddy Frazier says, right? The 3 L's, live, life, and love. Like, what can you do to talk about that stuff? And I mean, I put something into my group today, my private group, and it was, what can you do to put value out there? And I gave him a real quick suggestion. It's been kind of cold and rainy, even though it's been, we're getting into summer. It's just been pretty crappy weather up here. It's starting to come around. It's blue skies today. We're sitting at good temperatures, but people are looking for what to do with their family, whatnot. It's like, you wake up on the weekend, you want to take the kids out, but you're going, where do we go? What is there to do? Well, Okay, why don't you put a list out there of like the top 10 things people can do in your neighborhood? Are there any fairs, any festivals, any getaways, any tourist attractions? Well, like anything. Is there a restaurant that you recommend? I mean, what does that have to do with your business? It's again subconsciously connecting you with that area which you service, and coming back to what Phil just said about the audience. This is now knowing your audience. This is serving stuff up for them that they're going to go, oh, yeah, that was great. What does that guy do? Oh, yeah, he's my mortgage guy. Oh, cool. He seems like a really nice guy. And now we're creating the connection points, right?
No matter how much that mortgage and real estate evolves in technology and social media, it will always be a relationship business.
Always.
It's with people they like. So it's about how do you create conversations? How do you develop relationships? How do you add value? That's what this is really all about.
And this is where I'm saying to people with social, I mean, it's one thing if you've got the marketing budget to go and advertise on social where you can spend a few. But again, we know this, but it comes back to, it's not just the ad. It's why are they clicking on the ad? It's that whole ADA theory, right? Like, why are they clicking on the ad? Then where are they landing? And then how are you capturing info? And then what are you doing to market to them again? So you could possibly have that opportunity to maybe turn them into business. So
100%.
It's a whole process, right? But I mean, outside of the spending money on it, if we, just to stay on that social topic for a second, the reality is just get engaged. Like these types of things here, have you commented on the fact that you're watching us, or have you shared this out to people? It doesn't necessarily need to be around the MindShare podcast, but just in general, when you're on social, instead of being that stalker, get involved with people, start to engage with people, start to let people know you exist. They're going to start to see that you exist. It doesn't mean anything for business. But it now means that when you're on this thing, you're acting with purpose, right? You're spending your time wisely, and again, getting everything you need to do done in a day, right? So I got a question for you on this. You deal with a lot of mortgage professionals. I deal with both the realtor and the mortgage professional, and we know the importance of the relationship there, right? We know that is a real key relationship, sort of that goes both ways. I guess the first part to that is, where would you say that mortgage professionals see most of their business? Is this, again, people they know, people they don't know? Is it a mixed bag? What is kind of the, for anybody that's kind of just getting in the biz, or anybody that's kind of been in the biz that might sit back and go, yeah, he's right. Like, what would you say, where do they get most of their business from?
Historically for my business and people that I coach, it's a large percentage of real estate professionals, referral relationships that they put together. Over the last several years, there's been a huge surge in consumer direct business and consumer direct companies. The advent of Rocket Mortgage or social media and other technologies have come along where historically mortgage professionals were okay being a little further down in the sales funnel and getting a referral, from another source. Now they want to go a little higher up. Now it's who can get to the customer first. And I think that that's a lot of where the industry is going when we talk about relationships. It's not just about those referral relationships with real estate partners. It's about having a customer for life and helping them along the way. And an annual mortgage review isn't just about, talking about interest rate. It's talking about, hey, how is your family over the last 12 months? What have you guys been up to? What have you been doing? And maintaining those customers for life. And I think that that's where the industry is really evolving to. It's the realtor relationship is still extremely important. And I think that the way that mortgage professionals can add value to realtors and referral partners is to help them lead generate as well. Because right now, so many realtors have, the old way of doing it was put ads in real estate books, right? Yeah. And then websites came along and we did some SEO. And then all of a sudden it was Zillow and Trulia and you purchase leads there. Well, the next evolution of that is social media and Facebook ads and ways to get their listings out there. And I think the best way that mortgage professionals can maintain and add value in a true real estate sense to realtors and other mortgage or real estate professionals is to help them create leads online and co-brand in that way. And so again, most of my business and most of the people I work with has been through referral relationships. But as rates fluctuate a lot, working with your book of business, with your existing customers, using social media to put out what's going on in your life to really brand yourself and to get yourself in front of your own social circle is also equally important. So I think the world is changing and people need to have a little bit of all buckets in the mix of what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that completely. I think that, yeah, it's I mean, hey, kits, we do newsletters, right? Like, and we do a real kick-ass newsletter. When you talked about the personalization, understanding your audience, I mean, that's one thing where we've leveraged about understanding data and what we know about each individual person as to who they are, types of houses, ownership styles, relationships. This way we can just send a relevant message. But I'm going to be the first guy to say it. Just sending a newsletter, either by direct mail and or email, it's not enough.
Right.
Just doing the phone call, it's not enough. Just doing the social media post, ad, or organic is not enough. Just having a website, it's not enough, right? It's really about getting out there and leveraging the different, the cross-channel approach, about using multiple channels that will support one another, so that when I do see you here, oh, I saw you there as well. And then maybe I didn't see you here, but I did see you there, right? So I'm not missing anything either. And then again, coming back to value add, well, here we are. What are we putting out there? And I do believe that through certain channels, we can leverage, the business message, other channels like social media. I really do believe, like, make that a lot more about the value add, a lot more about who you are as a human being, rather than, hey, look at my open house. Hey, look at my listing. Look, I mean, I got a lot of friends on Facebook that are realtors, even mortgage brokers. You see a lot of rate updates and a lot of open houses and listings. And it's like, boring. I mean, I get it. You want to get it out there, but if you can mix that stuff in with the right amount of personal, which is why we're on social. I mean, half the time we're on social, we don't even realize we're on social. That's how addictive this stuff is. But it's having, again, what I said before, as having a purpose as to why you're there. Now, real quick on that too, you had, as one of those ways to get out there, you'd mentioned flash briefings. And from a time perspective, I don't want to get into today, the nook and crannies of like how to put that together, but I would just throw it out there to anybody who maybe was listening to that part and goes, well, how? I might say, hey, first of all, outside of like connect with either one of us or any of us from the syndicate to find those things out, we're always here for you. But go to Google, go to YouTube, like do it, right? And I mean, high level, you need a microphone, you need a camera, you need some way to record. And I think it was Brome who said it once, where he said, he literally took his phone, he took the earbuds that come with it, and he goes in his car because it's a soundproof room and it records. Right.
Yep.
So you can keep it really, really simple. But if you go, but how do I get it onto Alexa, on Amazon, whatever? Go to YouTube, go to Google. I mean, outside of asking us, like, just go there and you can literally find it out. It is stupid easy.
100%. And I will say that Industry Syndicate has a partnership with SoundUp.
Right.
Host Alexa flash briefings. So you can go to SoundUp now and get an account that you can host your Alexa flash briefing on there. And if you put Syndicate in the promo code, you get a discount on there since we have a relationship with them. But I think what you're alluding to is exactly right. Social media is about being social, and people forget that.
Yeah.
It's just another media outlet where they can advertise. I have a piece of content where I talk about the social media do's and don'ts and understanding what channel you're on. If you're putting your open house flyer on Instagram, you've missed the boat. If you're trying to put full-length videos on Twitter, you're not understanding the medium that you're using. And so, we forget that we all get on Facebook and we get on Instagram and we get on social media because we're in a waiting room, or a commercial happened to wash over us because our dog ate the remote pole or whatever, right? And so we're there to interact with people. We're by nature voyeurs, and we want to know what's going on in each other's lives. And social media can be a powerful tool because it's an unintrusive way for people to get to know you and you to get to know other people. It's one of those things where it's an unintrusive way for them to get to know you and you to get to know them. And that's what you need to use it for. It's an opportunity to create relationships. Yes, you can brand yourself. Yes, you can talk about your business. But like anything else, if there's too many commercials, people are going to change the channel.
Hey, and you know what? There's the other thing too, talking about TV commercials, talking about radio commercials, quite frankly, I don't want to see any of them. Right. And so what we also miss the boat on is understanding, like, nobody really wants to hear from you. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, when you put up that social thing about hanging with the dog or hanging with the kids, quite frankly, did we want to hear about that? No, like, I wasn't thinking about you with your dog and your kids today. However, if I see it and we are connected, there's a good chance I'm probably going to engage with you on that. But the minute we see the advertisement and all that other stuff, which in my mind, you're using social media wrong, right? if that's all you're doing with it. The minute I'm seeing that stuff, you're actually turning me off because I don't want to see it at all. And so from a whole thing of people going, well, again, they don't want to see me. No, you're right. They don't want to see you, but that doesn't mean you should just stop doing things, right? It's just, again, know your audience, know the message you're trying to deliver, and then deliver it across the right channel.
Right.
And now all together, you're, again, pardon me, building MindShare. And that's the big thing, right? Like, finally on that point, like when you look and say, and I've used this example many times, but you're going to pick up your coffee, you're at the coffee shop, you look around and there's like nowhere to sit. Every table's full. People are in conversation. You don't know a single person in the entire place. Would you just sit down at a table and start conversing with people? And in fact, if you're sitting there going, yeah, you're probably 1 out of 10. And if you would you go, hi, how you doing? I know we don't know each other and you're in the middle of a conversation. I just got my coffee. I had nowhere to sit. And by the way, I sell real estate, or I can help you finance your home. Would you do that? No. So why all of a sudden on social media do you feel that that's totally acceptable? It's
right.
not, right? So remember, social media is about socializing with people. And the beauty of social is we can go to a conference, we can go to a meeting, we can sit in a room and do a presentation. There's a lot of human beings there live in person, which is total value. The reality, I can get to a lot more people right here. I can do it the exact same way, but access a lot more people right here. So why wouldn't I actually do both?
Agreed. 15 years ago when I first got into business, I handed out flyers in real estate offices. Xerox copied black and white flyers.
Yeah.
Your way to create business. I traded hours for dollars. Now social media has created an opportunity for mortgage professionals and real estate professionals both to exponentially get in front of people, to talk about who they are, to talk about their message, to create relationships. We keep saying it over and over and over, but I want to make sure people understand this is and will always be a relationship business. People do business with people they like, and you need to use the tools at hand to create relationships, to meet more people. And if you're not the kind of person that can just walk up to someone in a Starbucks and say, hey, I'm Phil, hey, I'm David, so that's really the long and short, is to get someone's attention.
That's the bottom line, right? And then again, do it with value, do it the right way. So, we've gone over a lot of stuff here this morning, this afternoon, depends what time zone you're in. But looking over things like, again, time management we talked about value, putting value out there. I love the fact that we're so in sync. And I think this is really the first time we've had this type of conversation about this stuff that's so in sync around, knowing your audience, knowing what channel, knowing the message you're delivering. And I say it a lot and I will continue to say it again, but you can see two totally different people from two totally different parts, like the continent,
right?
Really going after a lot of the same principles. And I think that that's important because no matter the tech we can get out there and the flash briefings and the social media and the video and all that other stuff, still a people business.
Absolutely.
Be a relationship business. So with that, I want to switch gears real quickly here. You've got a wicked podcast. And in fact, sort of collectively among the syndicate was the reason that the MindShare podcast began. So I thank you for that. But just can you tell us a little bit quickly? And I'm imagining that a lot of what the podcast goes on about is a lot of stuff we talked about today. But I just want to bring some light to that so everybody understands what you got out there.
Sure. It's a mortgage marketing expert podcast. The content is synonymous with mortgage real estate. We even have some audience in the insurance industry, and we bring on real estate mortgage professionals that are experts, influencers, thought leaders, coaches, to really talk about what's happening in the industry, not only what people can be successful at now, but where the industry is going and how to be successful 12, 24, 36 months from now. I think people get romantic about what the industry has been and used to be, and they forget that our time horizon as professionals is longer than just this quarter or this year. And so when we talk about stuff in the business, we're going to talk about some mindset and MindShare. We're going to talk about tactical things. And so that's a lot of fun to talk to these people. And again, the podcast was originally created to just create content to put out there to help people build their business in the mortgage industry. And I've been super blessed by so many people have been very complimentary. We've had, tens of thousands of listeners. We just had our year anniversary. And to look through some of the guests that we've had, it's extremely humbling and we're having a ton of fun. So we're getting ready to ramp up and really start putting guests and content out there over the next coming months. And I'm excited to have an opportunity with your audience too.
But you know what? I'm completely jacked. You guys know this to be a member of the syndicate. I love the fact that we're all sort of collaborating together. I think that there's a ton of value coming out of everybody's shows. I'm jacked for you. I love where it's going. Like that many listeners is just that's something that I look up to, and I'm like, I got to get there. And we've had sidebar convos. I'm like, dude, what do I got to do? How do we get more people? But you started it to put value out there is what you just said. And it wasn't to start it to monetize in any way or anything else. It was to put value out there. And now when we think about it, right, that didn't happen overnight. You didn't get tens of thousands of listeners in the first episode or fifth episode. It's the consistency. It's the consistent value add, just putting it out there to the world and going, oh, people are listening. There's an audience. And now people are building the mind share. They're taking it in. Well, now more people know who you are. So speaking of that, how can people find you?
Yeah, so on pretty much every social media platform, it's at Phil Treadwell. You can go to my website, philtreadwell.com. Most of the social media links are there. Shoot me an email. I've got phone numbers on there. I love collaborating with people. I love talking to folks. I love helping people, build their business. So if anybody has any questions, wants to reach out, wants to talk, or talk sports or weather, I'm down for that too. I love people. I love getting to know people from all over the country, all over the world. And excited about what you guys are doing in your business. And the MindShare podcast is awesome. I listen to your podcast. I love it. Since we met in the very beginning, I love what you guys are doing. I appreciate you having me on. And I just, keep doing it, keep grinding away. I think there's a ton of people that are getting a lot of value out of, what you preach. And we line up very, very close philosophically with what we're trying to do in this industry. And I'm just great to have you as a friend and part of the syndicate and all the things that go along with it.
Thank you, brother. Big words, seriously, big words. I am very humbled by those. I thank you very, very much for that. I thank you for listening. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for all your insights. And then, again, the back end convos that we have where I'm looking for your advice. And I will say to everybody, he's an incredibly easy guy to get a hold of and an easy guy to have a conversation with. That's unfortunately not the same for everybody out there. When people give a lot of value, you start to go back end and you're like, hey, and they're like, I don't even know who you are. Phil definitely throws it down very different. So again, man, thank you so much for making the time today.
Well, I appreciate it. Apologize. We've had a little trouble with the internet here at the hotel, but I love being on, love having these conversations. And if there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know.
100%, man. It's technology. Roll with the punches.
Right.
So, you're either listening to this on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to industrysyndicate.com or even mindshare101.com. Wherever you like to consume your content, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at mindshare101 and on Instagram at davidgreenspan101. This has been another episode of the MindShare Podcast. Thanks, everyone, for listening.